When you've been trading for as long as I have, which it's been going on 8 years now, you oftentimes forget what it was like to think like your old self. So, when you just get started out trading, you might have a lot of thoughts that make you very impulsive. Like, for example, you just look at this chart right now and you think, wow, it's going down. I'm going to short. I'm going to go all in short because it's going down. I mean, if you look right here, it went down. It went down, you're just looking left and you're making an impulsive decision based off of one thing that you see that lines up with your thought process. So you can easily become very biased in the market when you're new. But once you get humbled and you gain some experience in the market and you incur some losses, which definitely will happen, you start to realize very quickly that just one condition being met, for example, being near resistance, is not enough for you to take a trade. Now, sometimes it'll work in your favor, but oftentimes what happens if you go all in at resistance and we break resistance and continue to the upside? So you have to be prepared at all times for both sides of the trade. However, there was one point in my trading career where things just really shifted, and it had a lot to do with the way that I was thinking and perceiving the market and traders on both sides of the market. So bull traders, bear traders, people who are going long, and people who are going short. So when I started to take into perspective, okay, the bigger picture, and I understand that yes, we might catch some resistance here, but overall, where is the bigger trend? And where do I think it's going to go? And then I started to have different conditions that needed to be met, not just one, but typically three for an A plus trade. And so once you start to adjust your thought process to say, okay, yes, we are at resistance, but where is larger trend? We are technically still in an uptrend based off the 5-minute time frame that I'm on right now. Yes, we are hitting previous resistance to the left. We also are about to have really massive news in 3 minutes, so GDP and jobs data. So I probably can understand that we are pulling back, but I'm not going to take this. I am going to take it with a grain of salt because we're about to have massive news come out that could move the market. So that's something else I'm taking into factor. Another thing that I am considering is the fact that, okay, rule of threes. That's just something that I've done over the years where typically trend lines can get hit 3 times. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. So this is going to be a big level and a big hit on this trend line for CL. So if we are looking to short, we need to see this trend line broken. But not only that, we're looking left and seeing we've created higher support here near this red line, which is why I have it drawn. So there are multiple conditions and multiple factors always being taken in at every single moment, which is why I love trading. It's not just plain black and white. There are always things that you need to be considering at every level. Where's the trend? Where is the large trend and the small trend? Where are buyers? Where are sellers? Where is support and resistance, supply and demand? Or is there economic news coming out that could create extra volatility in the markets? What's going on in overall market conditions? Where is SPY at? Or ES if you're trading futures? Where is the larger picture on overall market conditions elsewhere? So I'm always taking in multiple factors. Is there oil inventories coming out if you're trading oil? So understanding that there's so many moving pieces, which can be very overwhelming for a new trader, is really key. But let's go back to that mindset shift, because not only did I start to take in multiple factors and multiple things that could affect my trades, that was just one thing that's shifted for me. The other thing that shifted is, again, going back to how I saw buyers and sellers. So when I was looking to take a trade, and we can use the example that I actually just did in Discord. So I typically am always looking at a bull side and a bear side. Now, in this case, you can see that I have a larger point of view that if we come back to trend and hold higher support here, I think we're going to come in a micro range, which is just a fib strategy I created. And I also want to show you this trade that we took here. So this was a little bit of a closer point of view on CL. Basically, what I was looking to happen is I understood that from a bigger point of view, and I hope I don't lose you guys here because it can get a little bit deep, so especially for trading. So what I'm doing in my thought process is I am anticipating the fact that I do want to go long if this trend in gray box and red line, like this area right here, holds and finds buyers. But in the meantime, I would consider a quick short to this range, to this trend line, because in my head, with news about to come out, I took this trade at around 8:10, I believe. We can go back and look in a second. With news about to come out, and we already topping off at previous resistance, I don't necessarily think we're going to flush down, but I do think that there's a likelihood we're going to see trend hit because people want to see from larger perspective. So people who are taking in the bigger picture trend will most likely want to see trend hit a third time before taking that entry or before cutting if you bought down here. So their stop loss is probably loosely being followed by this trend line. So I'm always taking into factor, okay, if people bought down here, where are they selling? If people are looking to short up here, where would they take profits if, we didn't continue and break this trend? So not only am I taking in my perspective on the markets, I'm taking in what I think other traders are thinking as well, which that becomes very advanced in the trading world. And it can almost make you a little bit too confused at some points because you are taking in so many different narratives. So for example, my brain, works that way, but it's like, okay, if we drop down and hit this red line, gray box trend line here, I'm going to look for a long to the upside. But if we drop down and we start losing trend, losing red line, making lower highs, I'm going to look for a short down to 68.50, which is next fib to the downside. But if we're continuing to the upside, I'm looking for micro range to hit next, which is 70.22 to 70.63. So you can see that it's always, if this happens, then I'm doing this. If that happens, then I'm doing that. And when that shifted in my trading journey, I can't tell you exactly when it happened, but things started to click. And I started to think like an actual trader and not somebody who was just so trigger happy. And if I saw one thing, I was just jumping in a trade based off that one condition being met. And that just makes it, if you just have one thing that you're trading off of, again, for example, if you're just looking, saying, oh, we caught resistance here, I'm going to short. I think a lot of times that can work, but in the long run, it won't get you very far because there's going to be too many times where you just jump in a trade, your confidence is very high, you've got one condition being met, and eventually that one condition is going to get you in trouble. And you can have a second condition that says, okay, my stop is here, my entry is here. So, creating those bracket orders where you've got your take profit, your stop loss in place, that's a second condition because it's making you think about your risk versus reward. Now, I'm talking about the people who just jump in and they don't even have the second condition of thinking, okay, is this risk worth the reward that I'm taking? I'm talking about the people, because I used to do this all the time in the beginning, that sees we're at resistance, really doesn't have a target in mind, so they don't have a take profit, they're just hoping we break trend and flush all the way down, which we might, but I think those people are usually the ones that end up hurting the most and end up setting back their growth the most because they're not thinking like an advanced trader. And that's why I make these videos, is because I didn't think this way for a very long time. The only reason I started to think this way is because I watched so many YouTube videos and it was just trial and error. I eventually learned like, oh, wow, I'm probably losing because I just jumped in short with no real plan. And the only reason that I jumped in that trade was because I thought it was a good idea to go short, which it was, but the fact that I didn't think about a take profit or a stop loss or, where bigger trend was made it to where I always was losing any profits I made. Or if I, jumped in and was automatically losing, I didn't know where to cut it. So I would freeze up and just let my account dwindle away. So different conditions being met is a huge thing. And then thinking like the other trader. So if you are looking to take a long trade, think like the bear. Where is that bear taking profits? Where is that bear, considering getting out of their trade? And then vice versa. So let me show you guys an example right now. I'm not going to do a live trade because I'm pretty much done for the day. That's one reason I absolutely am obsessed with futures, is most of the time I am done before 9 a.m. So before market even opens, I'm Eastern time right now, so market opens at 9:30. I am typically trading between like 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. and then I've got the rest of the day to do with whatever I want, and I'm really, really digging it because I just have so much more success trading in pre-market. It's less stressful in my opinion. But really quick, let's go check back to what I wanted to happen. So I sent this to the group this morning. I was like, this is what I'm looking for. And I hope you guys love my drawings, where I wanted us to drop back down. I wanted to temporarily break trend line because I thought that would trap shorts. And they weren't looking left to see that we did form a higher support here. So as long as we held over the red line, I was looking to buy dips in this gray box. And then I was looking to move up into micro range. Now, if we did not hold over the red line and we were making lower highs underneath, then bulls no longer have control and I'm no longer going to be looking for bullish trades. So you see how I don't have a bias. I am very flexible with all the trades I take. If this happens, then I'll do this. If that doesn't happen, I won't do that. So it's just making sure you have multiple conditions that are being met, and you always have that if this, then that. If this happens, I'll do that. So it's not necessarily you predicting a move, it's just you being prepared to react if this prediction plays out in your favor. So for example, if we would have just, which we are kind of now, we are testing this red line. So if we would have just flushed all the way down here, then my bullish play that I just posted is no longer valid. It's invalid at that point, because what I want to see is only wick below this red line, candle body holding over, and then we start to move up like that picture showed. Now, if we are not wicking here and we are candle body closing underneath this red line, then I may or may not, I don't think I'm going to flip short because I already caught a nice short down to this trend line and it's just a little bit too risky for me right now. The main trade that I would like to take is if we wick here, candle body close over, and then start to move up, then I will take a long trade. In order for me to take a short trade, I would probably need to see some lower highs print here first, and then I'll look to jump in on trend continuation to the downside. But it's always multiple conditions being met, and I'm always thinking about both sides of every trade. And that was the main point of this video. It's just to get you guys to start thinking like that, to get you guys to start thinking, like that shift that happened a long time in me. It was probably just because I had so many losses, but you have to start thinking like an advanced trader in order to be able to be consistent and make the gains that you want. If you are always thinking the same thoughts and if you are always doing the same things, that means you are always repeating the same bad habits, meaning jumping into plays without proper risk management or a proper strategy or edge. You are just going to consistently see the same bad results. So just like anything else in life, you have to get disciplined and start thinking differently. And again, that's why I make these videos. So hopefully I can help somebody start to think differently, which is what really transformed my trading and hopefully will transform yours as well. I do want to highlight, because I know that my channel has been very options focused over probably my entire channel. I did transition a little while ago into futures and I am absolutely obsessed. If you guys want me to do a video on why I made the switch, let me know in the comments down below. But just a couple things is you can trade them in pre-market, which is amazing. And there's no Greeks. It's just a lot less variables. So I have been absolutely obsessed with futures. And I definitely am focusing on that heavily in the group. I also included that in the 8-week program. If you want any information on all of that, make sure to check the master link in the description box down below. It is labeled Peachy Investor Program plus Discord, so you shouldn't be able to miss that. And last thing, I just want to remind you guys, please do not fall for any scammers. I will never direct message you. I'll never direct message you on Discord, so any of my members are watching this, just a reminder. And I will never direct message you on Instagram or any platform. So if you get a direct message or a friend request, it is a scammer. It is somebody cloning my profile. It is not me. Please do not fall for that. I do not trade crypto. And that's a wrap for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.